All right, we'll call the facilities committee meeting to order at 6:01 PM. And it looks like
There's Jack.
we're all here except for Pilar. Hopefully she'll come.
Yeah, oh, something.
That's Jack, okay. And so the next item on the agenda is the approval of the previous meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion.
Need to call the roll.
Well, we're all here except for
Oh, all right.
Pilar, right?
Okay, yeah.
Or do you want me to, do we have to
No,
call it out?
that's
Does
fine.
that work? We're all present except for,
But I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll second it.
any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so approved unanimously. Was there any public comment? Scott?
None that I know of.
Okay. And then I was wondering if the committee would be okay with us moving item 6B5 to the heads so that we could have the presentation about the solar and then Jackie could leave. Is that all right with everyone? All right. So then Jackie, would you like to introduce yourself and let us know about your foundation?
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Jackie Harrison Jewell, and I'm the Executive Director of the Couillard Solar Foundation. I am going to share my screen so that I can show you some slides while I'm doing this. It's always interesting to, more interesting to have something to look at. So yeah, I am, make sure I've got. I'm going to talk today a little bit about the Couillard Solar Foundation, tell you a little bit about who we are, talk a little bit about the benefits of solar, and then our solar canopy. I set this up so that hopefully this will be less than 30 minutes, and I'd like to also give you some time to ask questions if you want. So if there's anything that you think of as we're going along, just let me know. So the Couillard Solar Foundation was founded about 60 years ago by the Couillard family. The goal was to make solar more affordable for Wisconsin nonprofits because, of course, they couldn't take advantage of tax credits. Things have changed a little bit since then because with the Inflation Reduction Act, which I'm going to talk a little bit further down. But in 2021, the Couillard family hired me, and we updated our mission so that we could continue the work of the foundation into the future. So part of what we have done with that mission is we are looking at ways that we can reach out and be more supportive of nonprofits, including municipalities and counties like yourself. So we have two programs, Solar for Good and Solar on Schools. Solar on Schools, as you might imagine, is K-12 through university, public schools. Everything else falls into the Solar for Good category, which is everything from churches and libraries, homeless shelters, food banks, any sort of service organization, Boys and Girls Clubs, things of that nature, can apply for a grant, and if they get the grant, they receive up to half of the solar panels that they need for their solar array that they want to install. All told, we have installed and promised to install 14 megawatts of solar power in the state of Wisconsin, which, if you don't count large scale utility solar, is 1% of all the solar in Wisconsin is a Couillard Solar Foundation supported project. The projects range in size from 10 kilowatts, which is about the size of what would support an average size home, to 300 kilowatts, which is a fairly substantial array and supports, a significant amount of a nonprofit's energy use. So why add solar? Obviously, there are financial benefits. It immediately reduces your utility costs. And depending on the size of the array that you put in, that you'll just be paying that much less in utility costs. That's not to say that you will be able to eliminate your utility costs, because there are always other things that you have to pay, fees in order to maintain your account and so on. But solar can really make a significant inroads in reducing utility costs, especially when you've got a larger facility. Return on investment is 7 to 10 years, and which I think is pretty good. But the array itself can last 30 to 40 years. Solar panels themselves are warranted for 25 years, but that warranty means that how that's warranted is that after 25 years, the amount of power possible that it's possible for a panel to produce will have dropped from 100% of the potential power down to 80%. So the panel itself can keep going for much longer. That's not to say that there won't be maintenance and other things that you may need to update, but it is a long-lasting and resilient and durable product. Also, with improved technology, which I'll talk a little bit about, solar arrays actually produce more power per square foot now than they ever have before. The Inflation Reduction Act is a law that was signed into place last year, in the summer of last year. And for the first time ever, the Inflation Reduction Act has created a way for nonprofits in the United States to actually take advantage of tax credits. It's called direct pay, or sometimes it's called elective pay. But what it means is that if you decide to put in clean energy technology like solar array, you can actually get 30% of the money that you have paid to have that array installed back from the government. You just need to fill out a form and show them what you've done. Now, it's maybe possible to get more of that back. There are other factors involved. Depending on there's a lot of details involved, but 30% is the floor. So that's kind of where we go. And I usually tell people it's at least 30%. So there are lots of things that fall within that category. For example, if you decide to upgrade your electrical, there are credits to purchase electric vehicles and things of that nature. But since we focus on solar, I usually just talk about what's available for solar. This is a really big thing for nonprofits. Of those 240 grant recipients that we've done surveys and have asked them for information about what the installation of solar meant to them. The wonderful people in the picture shown are the Sisters of St. Francis in Green Bay, and one of the things that they talk about is that they save an average of $21,600 each year on their electric bill. They are they're located in Green Bay, and they have a fairly large array. But there's also we've had several. We've had several other survey responses. For example, one of my favorite stories is Habitat for Humanity had an array put on their warehouse, and their electric bill went from $11,000 a year for electricity down to $300 a year for electricity. So, if you make a large investment, then that is you know, it is a large investment, but you also get large returns. And those returns continue on even past that first year when you get those tax credits. Another thing that's great about solar is that it creates community spaces. You know, it can add functionality to your community. For example, the array that you see in the picture is in Deerfield. It's right by our wastewater treatment plant. And the Couillard family, Cal Couillard he's a engineer and he's a designer. And one of the things that he likes to do is he likes to try different things out. So this array was donated to the village of Deerfield to support. It's 180 kilowatt array for ground mount array that supports the wastewater treatment plant. But what they decided to do was they also decided to, you see all these beautiful flowers underneath here. They decided to hire a consultant who helped us put native plantings underneath the array. So what this does a couple of things. First of all, it means that this area around the array doesn't need to be mowed, which can reduce maintenance costs in that regard. But also, this native planting is a pollinator, you know, a home for pollinators. It is it protects and strengthens the soil. Native plants have very long root systems that go way down into the soil. So it helps with water runoff and helps lower the possibility of flooding and you know, water retention in that. It helps with water retention in that area. So you know, this is one of the things that as a community you can look at doing if you decide to install a solar array, and it helps your community and the land in other ways. Other green benefits, obviously clearer air, a healthier environment, and stability of the local power grid. This is really important. Now, one thing that people tend to think is when they get solar installed, they think, okay, well, if the power grid goes down, then, you know, I'll have solar. That's not necessarily the case. Solar power is usually tied to the power grid. The only way that you would have power if the grid went down would be if you had battery backup. Now, I can talk probably for 30 minutes all on its own about the benefits of battery backup, but the truth of the matter is that when you have solar on your power grid, it really does help stabilize it and keep the power from going off during times of peak use. For example, I mean, Dunn County maybe doesn't experience this a lot, but in warmer climates, in warmer areas, you know, when you have several days when the temperatures go up in the 90s or you know, nearing 100 degrees, you know, the power grid is at risk because so many people are using their air conditioning. Well, if you have a lot of solar in the area, that's the time those hot sunny days are exactly when solar is producing the most, and that will help reduce some of the stress on the power grid and helps lower demand, which can keep it from going down. Same applies in the winter. The people tend to think that solar isn't very good in the wintertime, but actually solar actually loves cold weather. It makes the array very productive. And if you have bifacial panels, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment, even if there is snow on the front of the array, it will actually produce power on the back. So the canopy that you see here in the picture is the invention of Cal Couillard and his partner Amr Arafat. And this canopy is set up specifically to take advantage of bifacial solar technology. That is a solar panel that produces power from both the front. You know, if you think of my hand here as a panel, sun hits the front and it creates power from the front, but then it also will come down like it does here. The sun will come down, bounce off the ground and hit the back of the panel. So this is actually very well suited to areas like ours that are above the 40th parallel, because When you're above the 40th parallel, you get a lot more indirect light, which is light that's kind of coming in more at an angle. And monofacial panels work best when light is hitting it directly head on. Bifacial panels accept light from all different directions and all different angles and from the back. In particular, that's helpful when the array is snow covered, because even though the front isn't producing power, the light is bouncing off the snow and hitting the back and starting to produce power, which warms up the panels just a little bit and melts off that snow and helps clear the array even faster. So the solar canopy is designed specifically for bifacials. You can kind of see here, each of these rows is what we call a ladder. So it's a modular design, which means that each of these, we can create arrays that are pretty much whatever size you need, but simply by adding more ladders on to the array. It's designed to be easy to install. These beams are extruded aluminum that are produced here in Wisconsin. And they go up on top of this wooden substructure, which is also, we have, that's also part of the canopy product. And we have local people that produce these materials and install this. So the beams go up on top of that, and then the panels just actually slide into these grooves. So overall, it's intended to set up and be something that is easy to learn to install, and actually installs faster, which also can then reduce the overall cost of the canopy. They're very powerful. These bifacial solar panels that we're using right now are 540 watt panels, but 540 watts is the maximum amount that the front of the solar panel can use. When they talk about bifacial panels, we're only allowed to talk about the front, but bifacial panels can produce an extra 5 to 30% more power from the back. So if you've got a well-situated 540 watt panel, it can produce 600 watts or more on a particularly good sunny day. So we're using 540 watt panels, which means that 2 panels are more than a kilowatt right there. So that is it's very, if you have large power needs, you can get a really good beautiful array with not very much land use. Some of the other benefits are that it's really beautiful. This is actually one of our salespeople, Mark Kovalin, installed this particular array on his property and had a homegrown concert to celebrate. And you can really tell. I mean, there's so beautiful shade here. It's the light comes through the canopy, and it's just a very pleasant, beautiful place to be. The pitch of the canopy, which is very specifically designed to be a 4-degree pitch, it offers shelter, but still provides access to the sun. In other words, if customarily you talk about solar arrays, the pitch, if you've seen them, like, I don't know, out in the, out in some on a property, the angle is pretty steep, and it wouldn't be very pleasant to have that be a canopy over your head. So there's enough pitch that it angles for the sun and allows some light to come underneath. But being underneath this is still very much a shelter. Also, too, this is an array that is located at the Midwest Renewable Energy property. This was during the energy fair, and it was very hot during the energy fair, and we found that with these picnic tables set up, people would just come and hang out underneath the canopy and enjoy themselves. And there was actually even a little breeze, and we don't know for sure, but we were speculating that maybe the angle of the roof was kind of allowing breezes to be caught, because I'll tell you, it was 90 degrees in the sun, but underneath it, even though it was still very warm, it was very pleasant. The black beams and hardware. You can kind of see a little bit here that there's hardware that attaches these beams to the wooden structure. That is all designed specifically to be aesthetically pleasing. We want to make sure that that this is a really beautiful thing. It's something that people won't mind having in their in their community, or even in their yard, or in their neighborhood. And then the final thing, and just to put in that it really does work well for our climate. So we're sort of solar geeks at our office, right? And this is our prototype. It has been up for more than 3 years. And every winter when it snows, we run back and forth between our prototype, which is out behind our offices, and then the police department has a solar array that we installed in the outside of the front of our offices, and we go back and forth to monitor how fast this snow cover melts off. Now I'll tell you, this is like I think this is a 4-degree angle, and then the police station solar array is like on a regular roof, so it's pitched at a steeper angle, but inevitably the pergola melts off faster than the police department array does, even though this one faces east and that one faces south. And it mainly is to do with the fact that when the snow melts down on the police department, when it kind of hits the roof and then sort of stops sliding and piles up a little bit, so it takes a little while for it to clear off all the way, whereas this one, it just kind of goes all the way down to the end of this canopy here, slides right off and starts producing usually right away. The other thing that is really great about this is a picture of a outdoor classroom that we built in Reedsburg. This is a Pineview Elementary School, and they asked us to help them build an outdoor classroom that they could take advantage of this concrete slab that they have out there. So this one is about 45 kilowatts and has, I believe it's 19 ladders with 4 panels deep. So 4 panels in each of the ladder, and then there's 19 ladders. And the same incentives that are available, we talked about the IRA and the 30% rebate. That incentive is available not only for the canopy part on the top, but is also this wooden substructure is part of the array. And then the slab, if you have to have a slab installed, that is also part of the array, because that is there specifically to reflect light up to the back of the array. So you would get that 30% applied to all of these elements of the array, not just the canopy part on the top. So that's basically my presentation, but I wanted to open it up if anybody had any questions.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Is that all right? All right.
Sure, of
Um,
course.
you said that your grant will, pay for one of these, and not pay for it, but assist in developing and putting these in. A large amount of the expense of putting in a solar array is connecting to the existing electrical infrastructure that's there. Does that grant cover some of that installation cost?
Generally, what the grant covers, so I guess it depends on what you're talking about. For the Solar for Good or Solar on Schools, the grant is up to half of the solar panels that you need for your array. So say you need 40 solar panels, we would give you 20 of them. So that's basically what the grant is. The grant for the canopy is $3,000 for every 10 kilowatts. So if you had a 40 kilowatt array, then you would get $1,200, or not $1,200, sorry, $12,000 back. as a grant.
Okay, okay, so it's strictly more the panels and the structure from
Yeah.
that we're looking at, not necessarily connecting the wiring up into
Right.
that. That would be our
Yeah.
responsibility then.
Yeah,
Okay.
what we recommend for anybody who's applying for a grant with either Solar for Good or Solar on Schools is that they already have in mind or already have in hand a proposal from an installer or even more than one, because obviously, I think, I don't know what your purchasing guidelines are, but like, for example, schools oftentimes they have to have like 3 proposals or, but to have an idea already of the size of the array that you want and, location and so on before you apply for the grant. We'd be, of course, happy. We're always happy to talk like I am today. We're always happy to talk with you if you've got questions about particular things. We're not really, and we're fairly neutral in that we don't, yes, we're selling a canopy, but we don't install it. So we're fairly neutral if you have questions in terms of like, what sort of things to look out for and stuff like that. But in general, our grant is focused on the kind of the specifics of the array itself. But the other aspect of it that is really great is, so you add the grant, say it's a canopy, you add the grant that we offer. There's a focus on energy rebate that you get. And then there's that 30% direct pay. So all of those things add up and make what seems like a fairly, large expense, brings it down quite a bit. And then don't forget that once you do hook it up, then you've got those utility savings as well.
Okay. Well, I also wanted to say thank you for educating me regarding collecting solar power from underneath the panel. I had never heard of that before. That's quite an interesting thing. So I thank you there.
Oh, sure. Thank you. It is something I think that a lot of people are not familiar with. So we do always try to make sure we let people know about that. Because even when I said between 5 and 30%, what that is what they call it optimizing. If you install a solar panel in the best possible way, that's optimizing it. And to optimize bifacials is to make sure that light can get to the back of that solar panel. But even if you put a bifacial solar panel on a roof, it's still going to produce more than the monofacial, a monofacial solar panel in the same location, because it has those solar cells on the back that are going to take whatever light they can get and make power from it.
All right, I have one other question. What
Sure.
is the optimum height that the solar array needs to be to take advantage of that underneath stuff?
So if you have I'll go with, there's a couple of options. So the first option is if you've got like a house with a regular steeped roof. If you are doing that, if you can make it a light color underneath that array, maybe put down like white, like a rubber roofing or something like that, you're gonna optimize that roof mount. But it's not going to be very far away from the roof. It's going to probably be like,
A foot.
yeah, maybe. If you have a flat roof that you're putting it on, what I would say is make sure you have as light a roof as you can, and separate your rows. If it's a flat roof, it's usually a larger array, and they'll have rows of angled panels. You're considering boxes, then they'll be angled. And if you have them far enough apart that enough light can get in between them and reflect to the back, you're good. If you have a ground mount, which is what bifacial solar panels are, where they really shine, the optimum for a ground mount is 42 inches off the ground for the lower edge. That's a study, that's a study that, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory did, optimizing, solar. But our canopy, produces very well, and it's further than the 42 inches. It starts a little bit lower in the front, I think, I hope I remember this correctly, but I think it's like 12 feet in the front, and then angles up at 40 feet, so it could be like about 15 feet in the back. And we have that updated, they produce very well now.
Right, thank you.
Thank you for doing this, whatever. I've been noticing a lot of facing the east, but the sun shows up when you said that they come from the back, now I can understand that they get mostly from the west at the end, so I thought when I first seen them putting them at the east, I said, that's kind of stupid, the sun that shows up there, but thank you for letting me know about that.
Actually, you're very welcome. I think the general thought on this is that probably if you can base it south, that's probably the best. But there's a lot of thinking now that, you can do, east produces pretty well. Sometimes people do some east and some west, on their homes. It all depends on, what property you're putting it on, different parts of, where the property, how to build the basis, like I said, flat roof, angle roof, all sorts of things. When installer is going to come to your site and is going to take a look at every possible area that, there's possible to help you site it, then we'll talk to you about what are some of your options and choices are, and be able to kind of produce a report that will tell you, how to get the most out of your installation.
Thank you for your presentation. It's pretty cool. I don't know, just in general about solar panels. What, how long can they stand, like really big hail?
Well, so I had 3 large installations, and they did have a significant amount of damage because the hail was the size of softballs that came down and hit this array. So, it's not ideal. If a very large storm comes along, there is going to be damage. But solar panels are meant to be outside, so they are designed to withhold a significant amount of pressure. They can withstand everybody's levels. They can withstand very high, like hurricane level winds. They're designed not to be damaged for other, high winds. And I believe it. I'm going to say that, but I believe that they are rated for up to order size hail. Roughly, a smaller, it all depends on the storm. But they're going to help. So, the thing to do is to make sure that your array is insured, so that you can effect replacements of repairs if it is damaged. But I'll tell you that they're pretty darn sturdy. In fact, we did the installation on these things, but early on we did build a few of them still in the testing phase. So we were building an array that was fairly large. It had 19 wires, and we had not even we had the eaves up, and we had they were attached to the wooden substructure, but we had not clamped down the solar panels or anything. We just had solar panels in, and we had a big windstorm come in, like flatline winds, and this thing was like, oh my gosh, it's never going to be like sliding out and any damage stuff. Did not move at all. They were in there, they were perfectly secure, and nothing happened to them. So they're pretty.
Thank you, that's really impressive.
We were impressed too. It was kind of shocking because we were like, oh my gosh, they weren't fast and down. Obviously, we did fast and down.
If they're damaged, they still have power.
It depends on the damage. A little bit of cracking. It can be a little bit of cracking on some stuff. It might reduce how power they produce, but it all depends on. Solar panels are like solid state technology, so there's no moving parts inside. It's electrons moving through these solar cells. So if the plastic special, it would be good, but it would still produce power as long as the path of the electrons is not broken. If the path for the electrons bound gets broken, then yeah, the panel might not produce power. Now, depending on how it's set up and how it's strung through to the inverter, sometimes it can be set up that it's string, and like old Christmas lights, sometimes the panels are like that, usually set up so they can work around those breaks. So you would get less power from that string. The main thing that we recommend for people is really monitor it. It's not like a second forget it kind of thing. You monitor people, if it is a function or something like that, to call and make sure that you have to be able to look at it as soon as possible, so that you don't minimize your investment, but you get all the power that you can.
So if you did have a crack in your circuit,
Going beyond my area expertise, I would probably be inclined to say no. I think what I would do in that case is I would monitor it and see if it's still producing. But you can just mechanical, you just have to replace something like panels. In fact, we recommend people that they buy like 1 or 2 panels just to store in a closet somewhere. And if there is a problem, then you can just kind of replace that panel and go forward from there. I don't know how much people want to do panel and like jump down to this array and broke a couple panels. But that would be very unusual.
well, I'm done with dumb questions.
No, what questions?
I have a question. So your past projects are mostly nonprofits and schools. So did you recently open up to municipalities, or have you done any projects with governments?
We have done a couple of projects with municipalities. But we do not. Okay, so for some of what we do is we partner with organizations who administer programs. So solar programs is administered by Wisconsin. So they get applications and get paid. Same as solar exposure, that's administered by the National Energy Association, NREA. We are as we try to accept as many grants as possible can. It is case by case basis. The thing about the canopies is that the criteria for acceptance is different for the canopies than it is for solar panels. So because we produce the materials, because we manufacture the beams and so on, we are able to offer, we're able to sort of the criteria is a little bit more forgiving in terms of being able to provide the grant for that particular product as opposed to the panels that the 30% IRA has kind of helped out a little bit too, because we feel like we can work with that to make it more affordable for municipalities as well.
Yes, going to the IRA. Often the government doesn't like to support other government entities by giving credit. So the Inflation Reduction Act, do government entities actually get that 30%, or is that?
Yeah, I have very IRA that it is municipalities, it's tribes, it's schools, it's nonprofits of any sort that make the investment to do that, then that is available to them as a gift. And I would also say, if you decide to go ahead with this and you're working with an installer, I would make sure too that you talk to the installer, because an additional 10% can be offered if the installer is going out of the way to make sure that they are working with them. They offer a comparable wage to their employees, and also if they have like an apprenticeship program. So if the installer, and I suspect installers are going to make sure that they can offer that extra 10% discount to the customers. But another thing to consider, I'm not sure exactly how this is done county, but if you are installing a solar array in an area that is designated as a high level of poverty, and you have brown fields and they're not, so you might even buy zip code to find out if you are designated down in those areas, then you are also eligible for some more discounts.
Thank you for that information. One last question. Have you ever put one of those canopies over like a parking lot?
Well, people ask us that all the time, and we'll tell you. When we first started developing this, I was like, hey, this is great at the edge of the parking lot. And we realized that how the designer, one of the concerns is that if you put over a parking lot, that the wooden substructure, because the canopy part is designed to be attached to a wooden substructure, it's not really attached to be designed to matter. There's also engineers who try to but he's concerned about that being vulnerable to like cars sitting there or something that they might fall. But we have talked to people about putting it sort of at the edge of the parking lot. Like if you want to put in, on the posts of the canopy, if you want to put in like outlets, to a 240 watt outlet, you can plug in electric vehicles. And I actually let me just look at how it's going to go back and show you. See if I can do that. So this first, you can pass out these post space. Most people when people get hard, and recharge fairly quickly. So they wanted to put it like on the edge of the parking lot. And you might be able to, if you have like your own designer working that, the substructure itself is not designed to like technically be something you cars.
would be what, like 12 feet, and the other side would be like 3 feet.
I would say 15 feet maybe.
And how big do you make one?
We have, so you want to picture, in terms of, you know, I already remember the picture where that post comes down, so every two posts, 6 feet between the bay. And the largest we've done is like a four bay array that is pretty substantial inside, like I said, about 50 kilowatts. And that is about the length of, I was thinking about 4 cars comfortably instead of having 5 cars comfortably from that. This, probably also is possible to make that next spring. We're putting it in Deerfield, it's actually available along the edge of the parking lot, and then sort of acts as a covered walkway between the parking lot and over to the door of the community center. And I'm going to be, I don't remember exactly, but I'm thinking it could be as long as like 25 ladders long, so it could be 5 or even 6 bays. Right? So it's pretty special. Like I said, they're modular, so it all depends on how much space you have. Like, you have a fairly long space that you want to have covered. You know, we can accommodate that, and then that's even more power that you have. Even if you have something like that, it goes into the building, you can show you can wire it to that building, so you can offset the power use of the building. We're doing it on the community center because it's the community center and food bank, so they got the freezers and the refrigerators, so we make it offset.
Basically, they're just kind of a package size. Mainly, they're not super big, super small. Just basically the same size on each one.
Well, they're it's hard to let me go back and share this with you again. So these areas is today. So there's a certain amount of over a year.
I just want to know what's your design for every one of them.
No, the design is flexible. You can have multiple bays. So you only needed 2 bays. You only needed to be a medium size thing, and then you have a big 6 bays. And then we also have design for probably like a residential size that is about 10 kilowatts, or between 8 and 10 kilowatts. So it would be that would be an outcome that businesses would use.
Well, then a picture of one playing guitar and stuff. No, that one's pretty big.
That was actually that's a residential size. That is about 8 kilowatts.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And please feel free to contact me if you have any other questions or you want information. I'm very excited to talk to people about this. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Right, and so our next is the Menominee Youth Hockey Association lease.
Yes, so I met with the ice board and had a discussion about the items that I brought up to the committee last month. Jeff is here to answer any questions regarding the hockey lease. We had a discussion about how things were done with the camping and going all the footprint as leased. A discussion of how Dunn County determines the camping permits, because the Dunn County Public Health issues the camping permits for any of these people. So hockey provides the camping. They charge so much per camping spot for the events. Dunn County Public Health issues a camping permit separately for the event, and the event planners are the ones that go to the health department and get a camping permit. So that camping permit is all on the Dunn County Public Health website, and their camping permit is determined by the number of spaces. As far as for like a campground, I have a copy of it here. They did increase their fees based on 50% increase. KT and Public Health told me about that. It's based on how much time is put into the program by her staff covering those costs. So they did raise it. The lowest, how many it goes to campground is 1 to 25 sites, 26 to 50, 51 to 100, and it goes up from there. And then the annual fee is determined there. So we don't actually have a campground, so it falls under special event campground, which also goes by the same number of sites. One of the conversations we had at the ice board meeting was about Dunn County being able to raise the permit fee to compensate for use of the county property that is outside of the lease footprint, and that's not really feasible with public health how they determine their fees for the camping. So I guess I found out from the meeting. I also found out that the Racing Association, Ritzy Racing, took back the camping for the Punky Manor. In the past, for a while there, Menominee Youth Hockey was handling the arrangements of the camping. Ritzy Racing has taken it back. Now they're handling the whole thing. And what they do is they charge. I have a picture here of what they do. Their advertisement. They sell a camping pass along with their tickets on their website. They charge $50 for camping for the Punky Manor, and then an additional $25 for electricity on that. And that is all done online. Now, I also found out that the difference between Ritzy Racing and Menominee Youth Hockey is that it is written in Ritzy Racing's lease to allow camping at the rec park for the Punky Manor for that event. So there's no footprint there. There's nothing where they camp. So for the Punky Manor, because Racing is handling that, they can have camping anywhere in the rec park. So now for their camping, for the electrical, they work with hockey for the electrical. And so then hockey gets a meter for charging the electrical, and then Racing pays them back for the electrical. So more information for you, but we're still at the situation of Menominee Youth Hockey having events. It doesn't say on their footprint that their leased property. It goes onto county property.
Question. Okay. Scott, how many campers are we talking for Racing? And Racing footprint is basically the whole county property, correct?
Racing does not have a specified footprint for the Punky Manor.
Okay.
I guess they lease. They rent out the racetrack. They lease the racetrack from us. The grandstands in that area. There's no determined footprint on their lease.
Okay. And then how many campers? Do you have a number or any idea what that number is?
As far as what they have for the Punky Manor?
Yeah, I mean, how many on average?
They bring in a lot of campers for 1 year.
Okay. Now for the hockey, do you have any idea? But since there's electrical hookups, I imagine it's limited to the number of hookups that they're going to have. So how many do we have?
So they're limited to physical electricity. There's also campers that renters that do not hook up. Jack, do you have any idea of the number of campers that you guys would get for an event?
I know there's 2 events that I don't have the exact number, but there are a few events that the tournament and the volleyball too that get not quite as many as Punky Manor does, but probably half the area is used with those 2 events. It's growing considerably. The other thing is that the reason we kind of got our fingers in the pie here is because all the electricity that's used at the camping facility goes through our meter. So we're not trying to make a lot of money here with camping. We're just trying to break even. And some years we lost money because it's been extremely high, and they use their air conditioner with the camping unit. So we currently charge $20 per unit, which is cheap. And we're thinking about raising that even electric. And then the Punky, when we work with that organization, we come to an agreement where I think we charge them $1,200. It's really $1,200 with electricity. And unfortunately, they were able to have an event, but we told them that it's not our objective here to make money. We just want to break even with the electricity that goes through our meter. So
we don't have to figure out how many campers on average are actually plugged in. Are they all used? Let's say
all of the hookups are used.
Are used.
The electrical hookups are used.
Okay. I think Scott's probably got how many?
There are 18 hooks for campers. There's 18 PEDs out there with electrical on.
Okay.
So there's multiple hookups on each one of those.
Okay, so you got 3, 4.
So you could have a number of them. There's 9 of these posts with multiple hookups on the hockey footprint, and there are 9 that are on the county footprint.
Okay, so 18 total.
The one, there's one that's a light pole that has probably 8 hookups on it, and that is because that is used for the fair, for the food court, for the food vendors looking up to.
That's pretty substantial power.
And that one ends up being on the hockey footprint.
Okay.
The other ones that are on the county footprint are posts that have a couple of hookups on each, probably.
So
One other thing I should add, I got one other user that is a significant user. They have some extremely large RV units and campers that they do looking out there, so that's another big user for the campers.
so when racing during the regular schedule, they pay hockey then for camping? Because I know the campers out there all the time.
They don't, as far as what I'm aware of, they don't offer camping at the regular races. It's specifically in the racing, it's for the unit.
Okay, so who are the campers there overnight? Is it the racers?
If there are campers in the infield or in the pits, in that area, well, I guess it would be in the pits, if those are overnight, that's in the racing area. That is, they would stay there overnight. The racers would themselves would be there if the haulers have, facilities in the race hauler that they could stay there.
Don't I see campers out in that field?
I go under every Friday night, Saturday morning to see what is out there.
Okay, but that, okay.
I haven't.
So I was just curious because I haven't seen.
In the past, we have had the electrical turned on all the time at the reputable building and camp for the weekend and hook up and not asking, not questioning where the electrical's coming from. Hockey foot the bill on their electrical end. I've since worked with Christie with hockey, and we have all of the electrical panels are locked and shut off. So the only time they turn on is the county turns on for the fair. The other times they are turned on by hockey because that is hockey's electrical coming from their meter. They pay for it. They should be able to turn it on and off as needed.
Okay. So is there any thoughts on how, if there's maintenance required after camping at the county, grounds? Was there any discussion of what might?
There was no discussion of putting it back.
Pretty much the same as youth hockey said, you guys want to break even, the county would like to break even too, in regards to, offering our station and camping supply. Is there, do we see a spike when there's, youth hockey camping going in there for our expenses? For power at the, yeah, but you said that there was 9 hookups that youth hockey had, and then 9 hookups that
That are on the county footprint.
that are on the county footprint. Are we paying for that power?
No, those are all powered through the hockey meter.
Okay, all right, so,
So we don't see expenses from the same as them.
okay,
But the whole point of is a leased footprint.
So did Nick have anything to weigh in about the lease, or do we need to extend it, or? How does that work?
No, Nick didn't have a lot of information on that. Nick had spent a lot of time on, at one point was trying to renegotiate the lease, and they thought they had an agreement. It all ended up falling apart. So things really said, and I guess, funny bringing this up about what is happening at Rec Park, it's bringing to the facilities committee that the hockey footprint is not, the events are not saying in footprint.
Right.
So there are events that go outside it. And as far as expenses from that, the county isn't incurring expenses for electrical. The only things that the incurring costs on is if there is any of the property that gets rutted up from any of that, or if there is any garbage that needs to be picked up from leftover from camping, things like that.
water use.
The water is on the yes. There's no additional water costs incurred by them.
Question, with the activity of camping, is the county liable for any issues that may take place during camping?
It's county property, so it would be county liability insurance.
So that's just under the Arizona emissions. Okay, sorry, I'm an insurance man's daughter.
I think that service that we issue a contract for an event, they're going to put up an insurance policy of $1 million. That's minimum, so we will cover that.
Would it be possible to put it for them people?
That would, I guess, would be take a renegotiation of lease, and that would be through corporation council and the nominee hockey.
And could they include the roads so they could?
It's all of what two parties could agree on, I guess.
The thing that makes it difficult is that there's no way to control one entity versus the other. So it's all going to our meter. So we're just trying to cover our costs. That's it. It would be hard to separate out the responsibility and footprints. I'd like to suggest that the state of Michigan we're not talking to anybody. We're working with a racing association, so it's something that we're glad to have available. They appreciate that because it's a nice. What's there is nice for them to be able to come and use it.
When's the last time that lease was looked at, or?
I believe Nick said that he was working on it that was around 2020, 2021, somewhere in that area. I'm not sure. Jack, you know when the last negotiation in hockey and then
It was probably pre-COVID that he's
somewhere in there. I was going to say.
that he's like released.
Yeah, they were working on some amendments to there were some things that hockey wanted. There were some things that Tom wanted in there, so they're looking at many things.
And it goes to 2030.
2036.
If I remember 36.
Oh, I'm thinking 2036 was the lease that goes that far out. I'm not even sure.
I think that's what I saw.
He had a copy there. It was the second amendment release that indicated it went out to 2063. There's one amendment coming out in 2030. 2060.
That was 36.
And you guys are still paying $1 a year for that?
Yes.
So can we, look at that lease again, or do we need to think about?
Well, basically, I'm the only one left in this committee that actually seen that lease, and I don't really remember too much. But please look at it again.
I think Nick sent it out when I had asked, so
Oh, he did?
I will look it through my email
Well-
and send it back out to the committee.
Well, I have trouble with my email because I can't really do this
Okay.
save for someone trying to, do the password and all that. That's what we're at.
Yeah, so I don't know if, next meeting, if we want to can we have a discussion about the lease to look at it?
I would say I would say, let's look at it, give ourselves plenty of time. I don't know how big this document is.
He gave us a summary or something.
Okay, so, but I think, youth hockey's got plans for some construction and changing other buildings. I know it's kind of a long-term plan.
Yes, we're,
And
having
like-
a review at the university on Monday. And
Okay.
That, we will find out whether or not how serious, I guess, they are expanding they want to put some program to get free. So if that's the case, then they're obligated to provide the women's program the same quality program as what the current men's program has. And if they are serious about it, then that creates a lot of pressure on the ice line that we're able to put that out to our youth. So we are, and I think I mentioned this in the last meeting, and we are looking at expanding into the ag building to accommodate our youth program. And then the university would be currently in the main arena right now, that's being used now. But they're going to have to step up significantly from a financial standpoint if that takes place, because again, the financial right now afford this type of building program.
My thought is that if you move forward with that, and at some time, it may change your footprint, so to speak, then at the time, I think, a good firm look at what we have in the structure to see how your structure has changed and how that might affect the county. I think that would be a good time to say, okay, should we look at this? That's all.
So far, nothing exists like that.
That's my understanding. Yeah.
So far.
Well,
But we'll have your meeting.
Well, I'd like to know, just out of curiosity, how many organizations that use that place? Like, you got the high school, you got the college, and then you got youth hockey.
We all refer to it as a big.
And that place, as ice time, that means it could be 24 hours a day.
Say that again.
No, it could be open 24 hours a day for all people using their ice time. No one shows up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Not yet.
Well, I was out on the East Coast, and hockey never stops. I mean, if you wanted to skate, you pick a time, and sometimes 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, this time you get it, and you spend your whatever time, and then you gotta be off.
We have, not for that, we have, what we call the adult recreation league, comes in and also the South End slash cookie, outside the actual cookie. They come in probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock, is their ice time, and go to maybe 11 or 11:05 midnight. The high school has come in the morning at 6 o'clock, sometimes it's not on a regular basis. So we've got, the girls program is, it's a co-op program that is tied in with Chippewa Falls. And they do a lot of practicing every weekend. So it's nice to be able to provide reasonable ice time and reasonable hours.
And then when you add the ladies hockey, then it's even more tighter.
That's right. That's basically if the collegiate program did go ahead with the women's program, elevated to Division 3, they would have to have the same amount of practice time as the men's. The locker room has to be of the same quality. So it would be very difficult to provide ice time for everyone.
You guys will be selling raffle tickets when Alpha Freeze is over.
Yes, you're correct, yes.
Well, how many weeks can you sell?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of which, where do you get it? Why do you have to?
You can have it also. You can get from the high school. I think the high school selling them this year. The high school might be selling them, but the youth program is selling them. And I can give you. Yeah, they're still doing that. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Any other thoughts? I'll find that email from Nick, so we at least can look at it.
Put it on the agenda, we'll chew on it.
Okay. All right. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
So staff and recreation reports, so we don't have Deb here. So facilities and parks.
Planning for the 2024 fair is what she would have had to report. Working on that. Other than that, she doesn't have anything new to report. As far as facilities and parks, through operations, I'm going to for a new facility worker. The applications were taken until Sunday of this week. I'm reviewing applications so that I can set up interviews to get someone hired for that. The custodian position at the Judicial Center recruited for. I got applications, did interviews, and I made an offer to a candidate. She accepted, and now I'm working with HR to go through the processes of references and background check, and then we will set a study for the new custodian. We received our new John Deere 1575 lawnmower tractor with a new deck. That was in the capital improvements budget. We traded 2016 for. We got this new one that was delivered a couple weeks ago, so we're ready for that. I did purchase a new snow blower for that. Our snow blower that was on that one was a 2012 model, and the drive shaft left us last year. Had lots of use, and just the drive shaft replacement in itself was $1,500. So I opted to take money that was budgeted for that mower, take the leftover money there, put toward this new snowblower, and then the rest of that comes out of facilities budget money from the sale of a truck that we got rid of last January. I also ordered a snowblower for the front of our 3039 John Deere tractor. That way we will have that snowblower, and then we'll have the snowblower on the 3-point on the back of our larger tractor. The plan is we're snowballing with our pickups with plow to the edge of the parking lot, and then we'll take the snowblower and we'll blow it off of the parking lot instead of taking and pushing snow out there. This way we don't have all the lawn repairs in the spring, so we can possibly have a much nicer lawn. The spring comes, we don't have all the spots. This is going to work much better. You guys are pretty excited about this. So that blower, the new blower was delivered, so we'll be working on getting that switched onto that tractor eventually here. Otherwise, we started blowing out the water lines at the rec park. I just talked with Red Cedar Racing today, and we're going to go ahead with pulling the meters tomorrow. So then that gives the guys tomorrow and Friday to get the lines blown out, because it looks like this weekend is going to drop down freezing temperatures. So we both take care of blow up lines, and then all the drains, we put RD antifreeze in, do all that to prep them so that nothing freezes up. The rec park was not built for winter use. So all these lines have to be blown out and all the drains have RD antifreeze so it doesn't freeze up and break over the winter time. So we're working on that, and with new guys and the guys that are generally over at the Judicial Center that have come over to here to help out and fill in. It's a learning process. The guys at Judicial don't know how to do that stuff, and the newer guys don't know how to do that, so they're all learning now. So it's a learning curve, which is good. They all need to be trained in. So I'm putting multiple guys on doing all that and taking care of it. So they'll get trained in, they'll know how to do it, and then next spring when they're around, they'll learn how to do that. So get them trained in. As far as facilities fleet, I had ordered a 23 F450 with a flatbed dump on it. We did receive that. That will replace the 1991 Dodge 350 with a flatbed dump. That truck came in, and I'm ordering a new salter to go on this new F450 truck, which is a bigger salter than the one that we currently have. The benefit of that is we'll be able to fill it with salt and go do all of the facilities from fill of the salter. Also, this one is going to be a 10-foot salter compared to the one that we currently have is a 6-foot. Highway's bucket on their loader is 8 feet 9 inches wide. So when they're trying to dump salt into the 6-foot one, it's going to over mess. So a 10-foot is going to be nice where they can dump it right in there. The new salter is going to be all stainless steel. It's going to be pretty nice. It'll fit real nice on that truck. And then in the past, we haven't utilized the 91 Dodge in the wintertime. We've taken one of our plow trucks to put that salter. So that'll free up one of our plow trucks and be able to utilize that more in the wintertime. So that's working toward getting things more efficient for the guys to get the parking lots done. I included the financial reports copy of it. Get a chance to look at that. Is there any questions on that? As far as financials for the facilities, things are right on track. We're doing well. Nothing out of the ordinary. No expenses coming up that are really out of the ordinary. There was an expense, you can probably remember me talking about the abandonment of the well on the hillside between here and Judicial Center. I did work with the highway department, and we did pull that well. Highway department did. They pulled it, worked with a plumber and the bentonite was put in it. It was abandoned. It's properly abandoned. Working with highway and a plumber, we ended up getting the cost down considerably from what I was quoted for a price for a plumber doing all the work. And at the same time, highway demoed the pump house and cistern. So no more county liability of that. That's all taken care of. The cistern was probably 12 feet by 12 feet by 32 feet, all concrete container, all concrete tank. So highway took in, smashed in with a wrecking ball, smashed in the concrete cover on it. Took the concrete from the pump house and put that inside of it, and then took the backhoe and smashed in the walls of it, and then filled it all in with dirt. So if you go up on the hill now, just all covered in dirt, you can't tell if there's anything there. They were going to see that, so that it'll all grow up in grass, eventually grow up in trees there also, so you won't even be able to see it's there. So we have no more liability, it's all taken care of.
Great. Any questions?
Is there a ladder down 2 feet in case you fell in?
It was 12 feet down, 12 feet wide, and 32 feet long, but there was no ladder. There was a steel cover that was on that, and if someone had moved that steel cover, they could have fallen down that 12 feet, and they would have been able to get back out. So there is like a huge sigh of relief on that being done. Wow. Yes.
And I'm assuming the decommissioning of that particular well, you have to notify DNR or?
The abandonment of the well process is along with the plumber doing the paperwork for that,
Okay.
and submitting to the DNR, which I have a copy of that hanging on for my records.
So Mike, just a couple quick questions regarding that. Is that, so the plumber had to get up there with a extraction piece of equipment, or we used the backhoe to pull that well out of there?
The backhoe. Highway did the pulling of the well.
Wow, okay.
The backhoe.
All right.
It was 175 feet of, the pump was down. It's a 200-foot casing, and the pump was down 170 feet. Yeah, they pulled it in less than a day. I had it pulled out. And
Okay.
taken care of.
Excellent. Yeah. That had to save a ton of change.
It saved some money, yes.
Oh,
Definitely. So well.
One other question regarding the hiring of the new employee. Just out of curiosity, how many applications did we have for that position?
So for the facility worker position, I apologize. I glanced at the application. I believe there were 8 applications.
Really?
Sent
Oh,
over
that's
from.
Okay, so we actually had a good pool to pull from.
Pretty good, yeah. So I have to look it over and then refer some to interviews so that I can
That's
set
good
up
to hear.
interviews.
That people want to come. That kind of thing. All right, thank you.
And as far as that is everything there, I did attend Xcel Energy's Energy Efficiency Summit in Eau Claire today. Xcel Energy did a great job of putting that on. It was very educational. Information on solar energy, information on heat pumps, information on Focus on Energy was there about rebates. There was information on the any tax breaks that you can get. A lot of that stuff I will have to go over my notes, and then I can put together information and report back next meeting on the energy portion. A lot of things that we can look at. Ways that we can go. For us at the Judicial Center, is probably we know one way to go is to reduce our natural gas consumption. There would probably be the first way. And then there's options of ways to go on that, whether it be a geothermal system. You have ground source heat pumps, where you have air source heat pumps. You also have water source heat pumps, but air source heat pumps and ground source are typically the ones that would be for us. So I have to look at information on those and bring back information. We look at ways to go on that. One of the ones I got some good information on solar stuff too there. So I've got some contact information too. I can reach out to people and get more energy information so we can decide which way to go on stuff. So it was a very good presentation there, multiple presentations. Excel does a great job of putting on something like that. This is my first time going to one, so I thought it was very beneficial.
Great.
Aside from that, that is all I have for a report. Any questions?
It looks like we don't have corporate counsel here, so did he send you anything about a report?
No corporation counsel. Nick didn't have anything as far as any of the items that he had organized for the transportation of that. So I did talk with Nick on the next item though.
Okay. What'd you find out?
So there is agreement or a what is the procedure for agreement with the shooting ranges and the clubs, and it does not have to go to county board. At this point, it is. I'll write that down from Nick here. The facilities committee is charged with handling the development and operation of the shooting ranges, working with the clubs. So with the situation of, I believe it was probably 2017 or 2018, something like that, the shooting range approached the facilities committee about taking out all the trees on that hillside so that they could build these shooting lanes or shooting berms, places to put in their style of shooting that they wanted to hold these events. That was brought to the facilities committee, and the range went ahead with the timber cutting. The timber was sold, and like when Doug was here last meeting, he said that was sold. The money that they made was put back into the range. So a situation like this one where we're requesting to take down trees for the shooting lane, the 400-yard range, it would be the same situation. They would take down the trees. Doug indicated that they would take the logs and they would have those sawed up and they would use the lumber back at the range for the items that they do. I did go out and look at it, and Doug is correct. It is pine that is out there. Exact number of trees is probably tough to get at this point, but I would say probably around 40 trees would end up being where they would make it, so it's nice and safe there to accomplish what they want to do. Yeah. And the trees aren't huge diameter, so it's lesser there. It's not like they're full-grown trees where they're massive size, so they're smaller diameter. So I guess that is the information I have on that. If you discuss that one and
Does anyone have
see where to go on it.
additional thoughts?
I think it's okay. 30 trees, and then they use it for whatever they need. And it worked out the last time when they did it, so.
Yeah, I think we saw the diagram of where it's going to be and in relationship to other people, and it's going to be burned properly. I'm not, concerned about it one way or the other because they control a lot of the property in all directions around there. So it's like, I think it's similar to the Menominee facility, well run. People don't screw up, so they're taking extra precautions in a lot of cases to make sure that everything is as it should be. So I'd like to encourage us to move forward with it for the organization.
And plus, they always have somebody there that's trained to make sure that someone's doing it properly, and if there ain't nobody there, that place is closed.
Yep, it's gated and locked when no one is there. They really look at their safety. I think all three of the ranges increase safety. They take it seriously.
Yeah, and he said they would have to on the 400-yard. There has to be someone right at there with them.
Yep.
Make sure there's no one on the range.
Mhm.
And they talked to the neighbor who had for your information, they had the neighbor who had your stand, and they said that was okay. And yeah,
Oh, you did speak to somebody already?
he did.
Oh, he did,
Yeah,
okay,
last
yeah,
month, the person from the range
When Doug was
talked to
here.
the neighbors.
You were okay?
He said so. 'Cause, yeah, it was kind of down the lane.
I don't want to live next to rain, but
It was his third year stand. Was down in the end.
Yeah, the nearest houses to the Colfax shooting range are probably, I don't know, middle Smith.
Yeah, so
do we need a
motion.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve the Colfax shooting range to implement a 400-yard range on the existing footprint of the facility. And I think that's it.
Give a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion further? All right, so all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so you can give them the go ahead.
I will let them know.
All right, and so we don't have any resolutions. Our next meeting is the day before Thanksgiving, so we might want to consider moving that. But
Wednesday before, or is that the county board?
now the county, no,
No,
because county board's on a
On the
Tuesday.
8th, is it, or something?
It was a Tuesday prior, or the week after, or I think Scott was saying before we actually combine November and December
Yeah,
this year.
Last year, we combined the 2 months into December.
Yeah.
Right.
We had it like December 12th or something
That
like
was
that.
the third, it was the second Wednesday.
So would we like to consider doing something like that? So that would be December 13th is the second Wednesday.
Yeah, I think we're but my only, excuse me, my only question would be, is since this is budget time for the county board, do we need to have anything done for that before budget time? I mean, do we have anything pressing?
I'm not gonna say budget, his meeting will be done before the budget is approved in November.
Okay, all right, just checking there, that's all.
Because I think we already looked at it and moved it on.
Yeah, we moved it on.
So, a while ago. So, yeah, so we want to try. Is the 13th okay for people?
You're looking at the 13th of December.
Is that work for you?
That would work fine for me. There's
Is there anything else besides the committee that's on that date?
so on the 13th, there's executive committee that's 3:30 in the afternoon. So that wouldn't bother us because we're at 6 o'clock. You know,
The last meetings have gotten an awful long time.
Yeah.
They run into it. Right, the budget should be
Yeah.
through its cycle, so it should go much quicker. So if that works, we'll can get that on.
It looks like
13th?
highway and transit is on the thing.
Very early in the morning, I think.
I was in one.
Yeah.
So no meeting in November, all right.
That gives us extra long to look at the leases.
Right?
All right, so next meeting, December 13th. It's a long day for me. Right. Okay, so any other announcements or then we'll adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
All right, thank you.